Hey, welcome back. We're going to take a look at our half-life. So this was an extra problem we promised. Someone had asked about. We had done number 5, but it was a little bit easier. So this time around, we're going to work number 6. We'll get a little closer look there. It's going to be there are 5 grams of iodine left after 40.35 days. How many grams were in the original sample if its half-life is 8.07 days? So we're going to take a look. And again, the solution key is on Google Classroom if you want to check out that solution key. But what we know is that we have 8.07 days, we have 5 grams that remain, and 40.35 days have gone by. I want to find the original or the initial amount. I'm using initial amount because that's what the terminology we used for our equation. So your time, no time has gone by. That means no half-lives have elapsed. So I'm going to put a 0 as a placeholder to remind me of that, because when I find my initial sample, we need to know no time has elapsed and no half-lives have gone by. So what we do know is that I have a final sample of 5 grams. Now, when I end up with 5 grams from our last video, we looked at, okay, when I know an initial amount, I divide it by 2 for each half-life until I get towards the end to see how much remains. So we're going to reverse this process. So if I know I have 5, as I work my way back up, I'm going to multiply. So I'll say 5 times 2, that's 10. 10 times 2 is 20. 20 times 2 is 40. However, my problem I end up with is I don't know how many times that I'm going to multiply by 2. I need to go and figure out my half-lives. How am I going to do that? Look to see if you know the duration of half-life. And if they're asking you to determine initial amount, you most always will have that value. So half-life means 0 time has gone by, but wait, I'm going to add 8.07. That means half of my sample has elapsed or has decayed. So I have 8.07 after 1 half-life. If I add 8.07, I end up with 16.14. Now, you do not have to write the plus 8.07. That's just mentally what I'm thinking and what you could be adding in your calculator. So I'm going to add 8.07 again to 16.14, and I'm going to end up with 24.21. Add 8.07 to 24.21, and we end up with 32.28. Do it again to get 40.35. Wait, we're done. We have reached 40.35 days. So I go back, I have added that half-life for each iteration of half-life, so let's count. After 8 days, it's 1 half-life. 16 days, 2 half-lives. 3 half-lives at 24 days. 4 half-lives to get me to 32. That means this sample underwent 5 half-lives or decayed 5 times. So now I'm going to multiply 5 times. Okay, so I'm going to say 5 times 2. I'm going to try to line these up in my chart. That's going to be 10. 10 times 2, right, it's going to be 20. 20 times 2 is going to be 40. After 8 days had gone by, I'm going to say 40 times 2 to give me 80. Now here is where if you've not put your 0 for your placeholder, you would end and get an incorrect answer. So I know that I had 80 grams left after my first half-life. So 80 times 2 is going to be 160 grams that I started with. So at 0 half-lives, 0 times have gone by, I had 160 grams, and you're done. So double check your math by saying 160 divided by 2, you got 80. Divided by 2, you get 40. Divide 40 by 2 to get 20. Divide 10 by 2 to get 5. And sure enough, you have 160 as verified for your correct amount that you started with. So to find that pattern one more time, when you have an initial amount that you're looking for, start with your final. Determine how many half-lives you have by adding your half-life times until you reach your elapsed time. Then divide each of these answers by 2. Multiply each of these answers by 2 until you get to your initial amount. So, in other words, divide when you go down the chart and multiply by 2 when you go up. Divide by 2 down and multiply by 2 up. That will always give you your initial amount. All right, if you got stuck and you want to go back, the solution key is worked out on Google Classroom. Have a great night and good luck with your review. Stop by the classroom if you need some additional assistance.